Parashat Noach, such a familiar narrative, and perhaps since October the 7th, it has a very different understanding, a world that was full of people, communities destroyed. We can really analyze this week's Seder in view of the past year and come to some really sombering, difficult messages. Perhaps it helps us explain why Noach fell apart after the flood. But I want to take us back to the beginning rather than focusing on the tragic end of Noach's personality and character. Kinim Taset Hateva. We all learn him when we're young. We come home from kindergarten. We've drawn pictures. We've got this rectangle boat shape and we've divided it into 3 sections. The bottom section for the rubbish, the middle section for the animals, the top floor, the penthouse suite for the human beings. Kinim Taset Hateva. Make compartments. But the Midrash homiletically connects the word kinim to an entirely different area of Jewish law, to those birds, yes, kinim, ken, with a kuf, those birds that are brought when a mitzora, someone who had sarat, leprosy, but not really, had to purify themselves. What on earth is the connection between Mr. Noach and the leper that came to purify themselves? So profound. The person who spoke Lashon Hara was too much involved in everybody's business. Getting involved, machring, sharing, no boundaries, no borders. Everyone's life was open to discussion. Awful. Noach, on the other hand, what a mistake he made. We know from Rashi, Hashem tells them, build a teva, and it's going to take such a long time. And in those years, he was supposed to engage with society, but he failed to do that. He didn't engage. He was silent. So you have a spectrum. The person with sarat speaks too much. Noach doesn't speak at all. And in the same way that these birds brought as a sacrifice, purified the person who spoke Lashon Hara, so Noach too needed purification from the mistake that he made. He didn't speak enough. He didn't engage. He closed himself into his teva once it happened. Before then, he seemed to be clueless, totally disconnected from society. Now, of course, it's a balance. We can't be too much into everybody's business. That opens the gates for Lashon Hara. On the other hand, we can't ignore people, and we mustn't ignore people, and we have to engage. And this whole parallel between Noach and Avraham, or the contrast set up by Chazal between Noach's character and Avraham's character, we know that Avraham went out, especially to engage with those who were different from him. That's why Avraham becomes the role model for so many millions, billions of people in the world, because Avraham's the one that can speak and engage and cares about people. And Noach remains his rather bizarre, enigmatic character who we're not entirely sure how to define. And Noach needed purifying, needed to make sense of himself, to know how to speak in the correct and measured tones. But there's one more. Maybe these birds and this parallel wasn't to tell us that Noach needed purifying, but the world needed purifying. A world that was broken, a world that was selfish, a world that was self-indulgent, only cared about themselves. And what is this kinim? This purification concept. Noach was working 24 hours a day. The world of the teva, of the ark, became a model for how the world should be. Olam chesed yibana. Build a world through kindness. He was working, feeding the animals by night, the animals by day. He didn't stop. In contrast to the world that was destroyed, that there was no kindness, in the teva, this purification gave way to a world that was full of kindness. And now when Noach comes out, he has to rebuild the world, Adam number 2, on foundations of chesed, in order to be able to plant the foundation of a world that is able to sustain itself. So let's talk to those who are outside of us. Let's work with chesed and purify ourselves from the Mei Noach, the waters of Noach. Have a fantastic Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.